Hello all and welcome to Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are working on this gorgeous Mile-a-Minute table runner. Now I had to fold it over because mine's extremely big and I'll talk about measurements in a minute. But throughout the tutorial I also show you how you can turn your table runner into a blanket as well. Okay, and that's just doing the extra strips really, it's nothing fancy, yeah? Now what I wanted to talk about quickly was, whoops, I've lost my measuring tape. I won't measure it for you because I already have measured it, but what I wanted to mention quickly, the actual measurements itself. Now mine is 120 centimeters, let's try 120 centimeters, 0.5. Try it again, 120.5 centimeters in length and 23 centimeters in width, which turned out to be 47.5 inches in length and 9 inches in width. Now that's my measurements. Now the length is relatively long for our table, which is good. And you can change the measurements to suit you, and we talk about that throughout the tutorial as well. What is the yarn that we used here? We used Bendigo Woolen Mills cotton. We used the pine line. And I used between 60 and 70, actually almost 80 grams because we used it for the border as well. And the other one we used, I don't have the label on it, but I know what it is. It's called Daffodil, also Bendigo Woolen Mills cotton. And these are all 8-ply cotton, which is a DK weight or a number 3 weight, if that helps you. All right. So we used 60 grams of between 50 and 60 grams of your daffodil, yes, and about 70 to 90 grams of your pine lime. I say 70 to 90 because we used extra for the border. And the other colour you see here is parchment. Now we use between 80 and 90 grams of the parchment, the cream if you will. There was a bit of weaving in, sorry guys, you will have a little bit of weaving in because each strip is its own colour, yeah? But that's really neither here nor there because that's what happens in crochet, yeah? I just did one row of the border. I was going to do a second row, but I just found it was a bit awkward and pulling in different places and loose in other places, and I thought, forget it, let's just do a single row, one row of single crochet. And I changed the corners a little bit to suit me. Now, I'll also give you a tip on different things that you can do in your corners as well if you wanted to change your mind. You can also, if you wanted to, do tassels. Pop your hook in there and pull the tassels through, and you can do tassels on the peaks of your Mile-a-Minute piece. Now, I just wanted to show the tassels on our poncho right there. That's a recent poncho that we made with tassels. I will leave a link to that poncho in a description box down below. And if you wanted to create tassels on your peaks here, then you can use that particular tutorial to help you. Yours truly is not going to put tassels. I want this to stand on its own. All right. What else can I say? You will need a 4mm hook. I do suggest, oh, that's only in part 2, so you don't need to worry about that because this is only part 1. Yay. You will need your scissors. Actually, you know what I will say? In part 2, I suggest once doing your single crochet border row, if your edges are a little bit too wobbly here, change to a 3.5mm hook. Now I didn't change, so mine are a tad wobbly, but nothing a good washing and blocking won't sort out, yeah? But for today, for the strips, we are using the 4mm hook. You will need your scissors, you will need stitch markers, and you will need a sewing, darning, weaving needle. You may not need that until part 2, which we are doing on Friday, by the way. But for now, part 1 is just 1, 2, 3, 4, creating your 4 strips. In actual fact, it's creating 1 strip, and then I get you to head off on your own and you do the other 3, and then we meet back here on Friday, a couple of days away, to pop on the border row. So there you go. How gorgeous is our piece? I'm loving the join as you go. Look, love, 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 love. And there you go, guys. Thank you for watching. I'm not going to hold you up anymore. I'm going to let you head off on your own and create your gorgeous Mile-a-Minute table runner. Good luck all. Alrighty guys, we're going to start off by making a quick slip knot, wrapping your yarn around your finger once, and twice. Holding it there and holding it down there. Yep. Pass your back loop halfway over your finger, hold it there. Pass the other loop all the way over, pop your hook in that loop right there, and just give everything a tug. Yes? All right, let's get a nice close up here. All right, we're going to start by chaining up 7 chains. And a chain is a yarn over your hook, pull it through to the loop once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now yarn over your hook. We're going to make 3 double crochets in the center stitch or on the 4th stitch. So you've got your 1, 2, 3, and in that 4th stitch right there, you're going to do what we call a double cluster set, but let's start off by doing a double crochet. So you're popping your hook in that stitch with 2 loops on top and 1 loop on the bottom. Okay, pull a loop through, holding everything because it's a bit fiddly this part, and you should have 1, 2, 3. Yarn over, pull through 2, 2 left, yarn over, pull through the last 2. All right, that's your first double crochet. Now you're going to put 2 more in there. So yarn over your hook in the same stitch, pull up a loop, 1, 2, 3, yarn over, pull through 2, 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. One more time. In the stitch, pull the loop through, 1, 2, 3, yarn over, pull through 2, 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Now you've got 3 double crochets in there. We're going to form that little peak edge that you saw in the promo, and that's chain 1 and 2. That's it for the peak. Yarn over your hook. You're going to do another 3 double crochets in the same stitch. It can get a little overcrowded, but it sorts itself out at the end. All right, so you pop in your 3, which is 1, 2, and 3. All right, from here we're going to slip stitch. Oh, it's a bit tricky this one. Let's get real close. Slip stitch in the very first stitch that you did in the beginnings. This is 1, 2, and 3, and we're in our 4th. If you give it a big tug, you can actually see those stitches. 1, 2, and 3 right up there. Okay, pop your hook in that last stitch. Okay, the tail will play up on you, which is fine. Hold it down if you like. Pull a loop through, pull it through to the loop on your hook, chain 1 and 2, and just drop your tail at the back there, turn your piece. And now you're working in that same space again, all right, but on the opposite side of it now. So we are just going to be putting 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets in the same space. So you've got your yarn over your hook, pop your hook in that space, first double crochet, 1. Yarn over your hook, second double crochet, 2. I'll bring that out a little bit, that's better. And then you've got your 3rd. Chain 1 and 2 for the little peak edge, and you're going to do another 3 double crochets all in the same space. 2 and 3. Okay, so that's what you should have for now. You should have all your joins joined together except that last piece there. All right, so what we're going to do now is, let me get a nice close up for you. All right, you've got your double crochet 1, 2, and 3. In that stitch right next to your double crochet, the top chain of your chain 3, pop your hook in and do a slip stitch. That means just pulling a loop in and pulling it through to the loop on your hook. Yes, now chain 1 and 2. This row that we're going to work on now is going to be a repeat row, okay? So you've chained your 2. Yes, let me show you what you're doing. You've changed your 2, so turn your work. So you can turn it like you're turning the page in a book, or you can turn it the other way. Just remember which way you turn it and remain consistent. So turn your work, yarn over your hook. In your peak, you're going to put a double cluster set, or 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, all right? Got your yarn over your hook, into the space, right in the space, and do 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, chain 1 and 2 and 3 double crochets. 1, 2 and 3. All right, so let me show you what you have. You have that. You chained 2, you turned, you did your 3, 2, 3. Now you're going to put a double crochet on your 3rd double crochet from your previous row. So you've got 1, 2, 3. Now not in the chains, but on the double crochet. 1, 2, 3 in that stitch right there. So yarn over your hook and do a normal double crochet, and it goes right into the stitch. 2 loops on top and your post on the bottom, okay? And do a normal double crochet. And that's what you should have. These are called posts, by the way. I used to call them sticks growing up. A little bit of trivia there. So they're called posts, and these are called stitches. And sometimes you have a front loop and a back loop of your stitch as well. So we're just working in a normal stitch on top of the double crochet from the previous row. I don't want to confuse you, so let's not worry about that. Let's just continue. I'm going to do one more repeat row, and then you can head off on your own and repeat your rows. So chain 1 and 2, turn your work, popping your double cluster set or your 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 double crochets. In that peak, like so, and then right in that top stitch, the last stitch, your double crochet, you are popping a double crochet, and that's your row. That is it. That's the same thing you are going to do throughout all, didn't mean to bang that, sorry guys, throughout all of your pieces. All right, so what I want you to do here, guys, before you do anything, you need to work out a count, okay? Now, my rows of these pieces ends off in a 79th row. How I calculated that was, I popped a little stitch marker here, and I'll show you where that is so you can see. This is the work we started off. This is where we ended off just now, yeah? This is the very first chain we started with. What I want you to do, keeping your tails on your left-hand side there, not the little tail you started, just your working end, and just separate that very first stitch you started, pop your little stitch marker in there. Yep. And just when you are counting, when you are going through and doing your rows, count each of these that you just did. So that's 1, 2, 3. Yep. Like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Get to your 10th if you like, to help you with count, and pop your stitch marker in. This is just to help you with count. If you don't want to, you don't have to. And I actually have to tell you that I had to count my pieces over and over again because I kept messing up my count. So just a bit of a heads up there, all right? So this stitch marker here is just to help you with count. So your job now, every time you do a row, mark it off, mark it off, mark it off. When you get to the end of your piece and you want to do your second strip, you need to remember what you've done here. So you know, because you've been counting, and you just keep going on that row, on that piece as well, if that helps. All right, in the meantime, guys, what I want you to do is head off on your own. Continue chaining your 2, turn your work, double cluster, a double crochet in that last double crochet there, chain 2, turn, and so on and so on and so on until you get to the end of your strip, and mine was the 79th row. Get to the 79th row, don't cast off your work because we need to do one final row. Okay, so head off on your own, do your rows, get to your second last row, and I will meet you back here once you're done. Alrighty guys, here we are. Oh, it's very big now. Alright, what you should have, and yours truly got a little bit, look at this, I crocheted more rows. I got a little bit crochet happy, as you do. Alright, so where you should be is at the end of your second last row, or your 79th row in my case. Alright, finish it off. Now you're chaining 1 and 2. You're turning your work one last time. Okay, we're going to pop a double cluster set in there one last time, but in this case, to make it the same as the beginning right there, we ended up with 4 double crochets across there. You can't see it, but it's there. 1, 2, 3, and that's your first starting chain 3 if you remember. And then over here we went 1, 2, 3, and we did a double crochet in that stitch there. All right, so what we got to do here is we've got to actually do 4 double crochets in there. So do 1, 2, 3, and oops, I'm such a duffer, 4. Went to go for the chain 2. What you have to do is do your 4 double crochets, then your chain 2, or 1 and 2, and do another 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, we still need to add our double crochet here. But the reason we did this is so that these two here can marry up at the end. All right, and when we talk about marrying up, we're talking about when we pop our border row on. So you're just going to do a double crochet in that 3rd stitch like we've been doing all along, except now you're going to pull a loop through and give your work a cut, like so. All right, and you're done with this strip right here. Strip number 1. Yay! Strip 1, and you're done. Now, where we go from here is how big in width, or how large in width, do you want your piece to go? All right, so let's talk measurements. All right, so grabbing my strips, I'm only doing this to show you your measurements, okay, and what you want. I'm just going to pop them all together for now. And all my threads are pulling, just for the sake of popping them together. Don't worry about these little ends here. That's me messing around with taking mine undone because I over crocheted, as you do. All right, so let's go. Where's my little black here? There we go. Grab your measuring tape. Now, I know for a fact, because I've already measured it, that mine measures 14 centimeters there. 14 centimeters or 5.5 inches. Okay, that is when all 4 pieces are together. In between each of these, I also know for a fact that I'll end up with 2.5 centimeters or 1 inch between each one. All right, so far we've got, we'll work on inches in this case because it's easier. We've got 5.5 inches, 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, and on each side it'll add up to be an extra inch. So that's 9.5 inches. All right, now giving ourselves an extra single crochet row. By the time we're finished, my width will be a rough measurement of 10 inches or 25.5 centimeters. That will be the width of my table runner. Yours can be as wide as you like, it doesn't matter. And if you are doing a blanket, you need to double, triple, quadruple, and whatever else that piece to get the size that you want. All right, but if you really wanted to check what your blanket would be, if you're going to do a blanket, 10 inches, 4 strips will make roughly around 10 inches by the time we've added border rows. So all you need to do is add another 10 inches, which is 20. That's 8 strips. Add another 10 inches, which is 30. That's 3 fourths, 12 strips. Add another 10 inches, which is 40, and that's 16 strips. Okay, and you just keep going until you want the size of your blanket, and that's 20 strips right there on the 50th inch. If you are doing a blanket and you want the width to be 127 centimeters or something, all right, I'm not going to do that. Mine is going to be a little table runner, so I just want my, what was it, 10 inches roughly. I'm not even counting, to be honest with you. I'm just looking at it thinking, right, I want mine to be that wide. I'm not even counting, okay? But just to show you, and if you wanted to get your measurement perfect, then you can go ahead and count. In the meantime, I'm sorry about that long bit there, but I just wanted you to get your measurements right. In the meantime, what I want you to do is do exactly that with your strips. You are doing as many strips as you want over and over again for 80 rows. Remember, on the 79th row, you stop, and then you do your 4 double crochets, chain 2, 4 double crochets, and then you do a double crochet in your last stitch. All right, so you need to do that for as many strips as you need, and then you meet me back here on Friday, which is only a few days away, and we will complete the rest, and that is joining your pieces together, popping on a border row, and maybe 1 or 2 little things on the edge. We'll see. I haven't decided on the border row yet. It looks like it might just be a basic plain single crochet row after we've done our join. Okay, all right, so thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Do all the wonderful things that you guys, well, pretty much already do for me. And don't forget, guys, join me on Wednesday afternoons at 4 p.m. and Saturday mornings 10 a.m. Melbourne, Australia time, that is. We have lives twice a week. Those lives, they're a lot of fun, they're a lot of silliness, but they are a lot of fun, and we let our hair down a little bit, and we don't get as serious with our crochet as we do on our tutorials. So thank you so much for joining me, guys. I will see you on Friday to do your join and your border row. And all I want to say right now, guys, is ciao for now.